So what we covered here today was how we set up an inertia relief analysis, what it is. It balances out the external forces with accelerations and does that to the model so it is in a quasi-static state. It's applied in aerospace. It's applied whenever you have something in the air or something which is loaded at the same positions as it is constrained. And basically you just set up the loads and don't care too much about the constraints because the solver figures that out automatically. And then you just run the analysis and make plausibility checks, and then you have your model. Hey guys, welcome to module number 6, which is the inertial relief. So we touched briefly on the module 5 already with the assemblies because, the drone was just a fitting example for inertial relief analysis. But now we are dealing with it properly with the module number 6, inertial relief. So just looking at what we will be getting here, loads, we have moment and force. I think pressure is... I don't think pressure is considered here, but basically it's the same thing or same methodology, how to get to the forces. Then we have material definition for sure, and we have also contouring. And so inertial relief is a unconstrained type of analysis. And you might be thinking, unconstrained, how should this work? How do we prevent rigid body motion? You know, that if you push something into a direction with a force and have no constraints, so that means the structure is not really held in place, then why it would not just fly away? Like a rigid body motion, that means nothing is moving relative to each other in the part, but the whole part is moving like in eternity and never stops because there's no constraints. Well, inertial relief analysis tries to balance out the external forces applied to the model by calculating inertia forces, so from acceleration, more or less, to balance out those external forces, so that you would be in a equilibrium. Maybe some like an image you could imagine how this works. Just imagine flying on a plane and then suddenly you lose lift. And in this situation where you're just losing lift, you're still in more or less an equilibrium before you're moving. And so basically that's what inertial relief is trying to simulate. So this is a quasi-static situation in a dynamic load cycle, which is then being calculated quasi-statically. And so you have to be a little bit careful because it's not really a transient analysis and no real transient effects are being taken into account. But it's a good way to do all kinds of things where you have like accelerations, like much of that being aircrafts, something in the air like rockets, aircrafts, drones, or something where you have loads at exactly that point where you also have constraints. Then you would do something like this. So like this example we now have, which is some sort of bracket or lever in a aircraft. And so you see that it's mounted on 3 locations, but it happens to see forces and moments at exactly the same locations. And so that's why it's being considered here. What I did do is I did copy out the forces we will be setting up in here in a moment. So you have 3 points. You have shock, you have pivot, and you have the axle. So shock would be this location right here. Pivot would be this point and axle would be the point over here. And so basically you can see you have forces for all 3 locations and they are given in X, Y, and Z components. And you have moments for the later 2. So how we are gonna set this up. The first location is pretty simple because you can just simply go and check for a force. Go here. Actually, that was not correct. Be sure to select the surface and not a ring or something like that, a line here. So if you don't see the components, you just simply click here and then you have the components view. And so you can set that up. So this would be the shock. We can go like so. Yeah, this is the important one. Good that this happened. So be sure that whenever you do something like this, so like I just did, if you click here and just go here, it says X, Y, Z, and this is only the direction. You saw me entering the values, but the 100 newtons at the top, the magnitude of the load stayed the same. This would not be correct, and I would have gone to Excel, computed the magnitude, and then entered it above, and it would be fine. But there's an easier option. So whenever you click on the vector mode, right? So you go from vector to components, and so basically this means you now can enter separately the forces. And now let's enter them again. Okay, and you can see dynamically changing how dynamically the load at the top changes because it's computing the magnitude. Okay, so that's interesting, or very important. So let's continue with the forces. We go now to the pivot, and here with the pivot you see that there's a little different cross section in the middle. And so basically you would have to divide the force up between the two first surfaces if you would want to do this by hand, or you just use another connector, which would be the option I would choose. So I would choose to set up two connectors. Flexible is fine, I would say. This allows movement between the two surfaces relative to each other. And so I can now create the force at the center node of the connector, and also go again with the component node. So we have 980 here. All right. All right, second one set up. The third one is the axle, and here we don't have to use a connector, so we can just simply go with the force again. And here we have vector again. Yes. Okay, so here we have 1372 and 489 and 0. Okay, so we have that. And now we have also to add two moments, the one being at the pivot, because on the shock we don't have any moment, so we can choose to add a moment right here. And here, same thing applies. You can also change that to the component mode and then just enter that. So, and also be sure to check the unit system. So we were in newtons before for the force, and here we are calculating in millimeters, so the torque has to be entered in Newton millimeters. And we're doing exactly that. So that's 10.4867 and okay. Torque 1 is set, and torque at the axle. Here you just select this again, and we can also enter the torque again, and that would be like so. Okay, you can see that is mostly in Z direction. That makes sense because also the hole is aligned with the Z direction more or less. Not quite, yeah, but more or less. And here we have a different kind of moment or torque, right? So you have X and Y components, which are pretty big, and the other ones are small or zero. So no set moment here. Right, that's all it takes. So basically we set up just the forces, the boundary conditions, the forces and moments, but we did not set up any constraints, and that's the beauty of the inertial relief analysis. So basically I will just choose faster for now, that it doesn't take too long. And all you have to do really is to check the use inertial relief, and that's about it. So you run this analysis, and then let's see what this comes up with. I will pause the video because it will take a bit of time, and I'll see you right back. All right, simulation is done, so let's have a look. And indeed, it's not flying away. Maybe the mesh size is a little bit coarse. Let me hide it with the mesh button, And let's just get a better understanding of the structure, how it is loaded by checking the animate button here. You can see how it is deforming, right? You can see the displacement. Yeah, that makes sense because of the torque. It behaves like that. And this moves down, yeah. So just make basic checks, validity checks, if the applied forces and moments would, in your mind, result in a motion like this. So maybe also check the stress. I think the tutorial mentions here that you should check for something like 200 megapascal. So let's just choose top here to be 200. Doesn't change too much. But for sure, I mean, the element quality or element size should be definitely refined here with smaller elements, and check again how this hotspot behaves if you have solid mesh conversions check here, because that could that could increase quite significantly with smaller mesh size. Yeah, so what we covered here today was how we set up an inertia relief analysis, what it is. It balances out the external forces with accelerations and does that to the model so it is in a quasi-static state. It's applied in aerospace. It's applied whenever you have something in the air or something which is loaded at the same positions as it is constrained. And basically you just set up the loads and yeah, don't care too much about the constraints because the solver figures that out automatically, and then you just run the analysis and make plausibility checks, and then you have your model. So that's about it for this module. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Bye guys.